All yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sunilji. Radhe Radhe. Good morning, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita session. Radhe Radhe, Nitinji, over to you.
Thank you, Pallavi, and thank you, Prakashji and Sunil Bhai, for a wonderful session, like always. A very warm welcome to all of you to today's edition of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. I'm excited to be back, like always, and I hope the feeling is mutual. We'll get started. We are talking about 4.32. We will continue on that discussion and peel a few more layers around the topic that we are on. So I'm looking forward to another exciting, engaging session today. And we will talk about why there are so many paths. God could have simplified this whole process for us, right? Just one path. And He's created so much of variety around the paths as well. Why do we have so many paths? And we'll try to look at it in perspective as well. So without much ado, let me share my screen and we will get started. And also we'll do a quick recap on the concept of sacrifice that we've been talking about as well. We'll see a short video to reinforce the concepts that we have been talking about. So let me share my screen. We will do our opening prayers and then get started. I need to probably share my desktop. Maybe. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so let's get started with our opening prayers. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening once again to all of you. So let's get started. We are on Shloka 4.32. I'm going to recite it and we'll take a few hands today to recite it and then we'll get started with the discussion today. Evam bahuvida yagya vidata brahmano mukhe karmajan vidhitan sarvan evam gyatva vimokshase. Let's take a few hands.
Sandhya ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Evam bahuvida yagya vidita brahmano mukhe karmajan vidhitan sarvan evam gyatva vimokshase.
All right, let's take a couple more. Let's give preference to the one on video and then we'll move forward.
Yes, Radhe Radhe, Shamji, please go ahead.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. Evam bahuvida yagya vitita brahmano mukhe karma jana vidhi tan sarvan evam gyatva vimokshase. Radhe Radhe.
You, Radhe Radhe.
Rahulji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Evam bahuvida yagya vidita brahmano mukhe karma jnana vidhi tan sarvan evam gyatva vimokshase. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Rahul. Okay, I see two more videos on.
Yeah.
Let's put those hands too.
Falguni ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Radhe Radhe. Evam bahuvida yagna vitata brahmano mukhe karmajana vidhitana sarvan evam gnatva vimukshase. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, thank you. Okay.
Aparna ji,
Aparna ji.
Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Evam bahuvida वितत ब्रह्मणो मुखे कर्मजन् विद्धि तन् सर्वन् एवं ज्ञात्वा विमोक्ष्यसे.
All right, we'll take 2 more hands and then get started. We have enough content to cover, so
Yeah,
go.
Ramesh ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Ramesh ji.
एवं बहुविद्या यजन विद्या ब्रह्मणो मुखे कर्म जैन.
Okay, let's move on. Ramesh.
Ramesh ji, there's a problem in the audio.
एवं बहुविद्या यजन विद्या ब्रह्मणो मुखे कर्म जैन विद्याधन एवं जनता विमोक्षते.
Where are you joining us from, Ramesh Babuji?
Hello.
Ramesh, where are you joining us from?
Hello.
Hello.
Madurai. Madurai.
All right. Good.
Madurai, Tamil Nadu.
All right. Welcome.
Madurai, Tamil Nadu, India.
Okay. Okay. Understood. Thank you. Okay. Let's quickly take maybe one more hand and then we'll get started. I think we have to first.
Ragi ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Ragi ji.
Radhe Radhe, thank you. Evam bahuvida yagya vittata brahmano mukhe karma jana viddhi tan sarvan evam gyatva vimokshase.
Thank you, Ragi ji. So let's get started. Riya ji will take your hand tomorrow. So let's get started now. In this shloka, Lord Krishna is saying all these different kind of sacrifice have been described in the Vedas. Know them as originating from different types of work. This understanding cuts the knots of material bondage. So let's get started. We'll start with our soul soup segment for success, happiness, and fulfillment series that we are in. Now, the ability to exercise our free will for choosing our attitude. Yesterday, we spoke about the responsibility of our emotions lies with us. We looked at it through a story. In continuation of that, the ability to exercise our free will for choosing our attitude is actually the foundation for spiritual growth. Okay, this is very foundational to our spiritual growth, where we are exercising our free will to choose our attitude. Let me expound on this a little bit. Now, the responsibility of our mind lies with us. So, if we are pointing fingers at others for our mood, this juvenile behavior, kids do that all the time. Kids do that, okay, Bhaiya did this, Didi did that, and this, that, which is acceptable when they do that. It is called a juvenile behavior. In childhood, everybody does that. So for children, it is understandable and condoned as well, right? But as we grow, we are expected to become more mature and live our life by our values and not by the whims of our mood. That is the key message. The pity is that even in adulthood, many refuse to mature and they remain kids emotionally. And if you ask them, why are you miserable? They'll blame others. It is all because of so and so. So that is the attitude that needs to be refrained from. And I'll tell you now, if there are people that find that, okay, I am not feeling inspired anymore as I used to. Now, the question that would be asked too, okay, so what is the remedy to this problem? And then they will say, I'm waiting for the sentiments or the inspiration to come back. And when will the sentiments come back? I don't know. Okay, but whenever they will return, then I will resume my spiritual journey or start, practicing more of my sadhana as well. And then the question is, what if they don't return? What happens then? And the same argument happens when people, right? If you look at the divorce rate, it is pretty picking up globally as well these days. So what happens? I mean, we had one of our neighbors and he used to live with, he was pretty old, aged, and he used to live with his dog only. So I asked him that, what about your family? He said, I had a wife. We were married for about, close to 45 years or so. I said, what happened? He said, then one day she said, I don't love you anymore. And she walked away. So that is also a sentiment, like my love for my spouse has dried up. I don't have the same feelings anymore. Now, if you think like that, are you waiting for the sentiments to come back? What if they don't come back at all? Who are you going to hold responsible for the waning of your love? Okay, these are the questions that to be asked. Now, emotionally mature people, they understand what is the right thing to do and they cultivate it consciously, mindfully. So to truly love someone does not mean to reject any unloving sentiments that the mind may suggest. Love requires exerting our heart and creating loving feelings toward the object of our affection. So it is something that you cultivate. Now, this is the ability of our free will, which by, we are free to choose our attitude in a given situation, and that determines the foundation of our spiritual growth. Bhagavad Gita 6.5 says, Uddhared atmanatmanam natmanam avasadyet atmeva hyatmano bandhur atmeva ripur atmana. That means the mind has an ability, the power over your mind. Basically, we can either uplift ourselves with the power of our mind or we can degrade ourselves. That much power it has. The controlled mind can be our best friend, while an unbridled mind can be our worst enemy. So this is how this freedom of free will to cultivate the sentiments or the thoughts that are required for a situation, the responsibility or the onus lies on us and not on the situations around. Because if we let our mind run to the whims of our mind, then it can take us for a ride for the rest of our life. So tomorrow we will talk about, in this series, continue what are some of the impediments where we are not able to exercise it. Okay, there are certain things which are impediments to it. So we'll talk about that as well. Now let's move on to the topic of our discussion today. We will do it by watching a short video. Let me stop share and share the screen instead, because that might be easier to share sound. Just stop, give me a sec. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, not yet. I think that's not right. Okay, now you should be able to see the screen. Let me know if you hear the audio.
Having come in.
Are you able to hear the audio? Okay, cool. It's going to be a reiteration of some of the concepts that we have spoken about regarding the sacrifice. Okay, so if you still had some doubts, let's hear from the authority itself so that those gaps are bridged as well.
In this world, all of us take so much from this whole system. We are at every moment receiving. We all have our duties to perform. The human body and mind are such, they will not remain still. So we will be obliged and impelled to work in accordance with our modes of material nature. When this work is dedicated to God and done in the spirit of sacrifice, that is called yajna. So he said, Arjun, I would recommend you to do yajna, work in a spirit of sacrifice. Such work, because it is for the pleasure of God, pleases all these celestial gods in charge of God's administration, and they bestow prosperity upon the living being and the whole planet Earth. So we must realize, having come in this world, we have our duty, but that duty must be done in divine consciousness. So he says here, Arjun, if work is not done as an offering to God, if that is not our mentality, and we look on work as a means for enjoyment, for procuring the things of this world for our sensual and mental gratification, people who engage in this thinking are thieves in the eyes of God. That's what he says in this verse. Some people say, Swamiji, I don't do anything bad. I don't harm anyone. I don't hurt others. I don't steal. But I don't believe in God, nor do I believe I have any duties of mine. I believe be good, do good. If there's anything wrong with my theory, Sri Krishna says there's something very wrong. He uses the word, you're a thief. Why? Because the whole world belongs to God. It doesn't belong to us. We are in God's world and we are utilizing God's things. If we say, I have got no need to accept the existence of God or to accept that I have duties towards Him, I am not doing anything wrong. Sri Krishna says in this verse that from the transcendental perspective, you are stealing God's things for yourself. And yes, so in His eyes, you are a thief.
You know, a huge testimony for the Jewish people, and it's fairly well known.
Now, supposing you were to go to a friend's house when she is not there, and you lie down on the sofa and go to sleep, and when she lands up in her house, she finds you there, and she says, what is this? You say, I'm not doing anything wrong. I did not open your closet to take out any clothes. I did not take any items of food from your fridge. I did not utilize your kitchen. I'm just in your house. So she will say that that's all right, but this was still not right, because it is her house and you are not acknowledging her ownership. We say that we are not telling any lies, we are not stealing, we are not hurting anyone. So is there any need to worship God? We are not doing any wrong. So if we wish to be truly good, we need to accept that this world belongs to God, that we are all tiny parts of God, that everybody else is a tiny part of God, that the energy to engage in activities is coming from Him. So when we have this in our consciousness, in our positive awareness, then our actions are truly right. And without that conscious awareness, we may say that I am not doing anything wrong, but from God's perspective, it is still not right. So we must develop that divine consciousness. The world is not mine, it belongs to God. These souls are all tiny parts of Him. I myself am a tiny part of Him. And all that I have is His energy, whether it's the body, whether it's the wealth, whether it's the intellectual, artistic talents, faculties I possess. And that is why it is my bounden duty to utilize all of this in His service. That is the spirit of yajna which Sri Krishna is talking about, the divine consciousness. So it is the difference between divine consciousness and material consciousness is just this. There used to be a serial that used to come, Chanakya, many years ago. Chandragupta asks Chanakya in that according to the Vedic philosophy, what is the position of a king? So Chanakya immediately answers, the king is nothing but the servant of his people. That is God consciousness. I am not the enjoyer, I am the servant. When we see things in the divine light, in their connection with God, and see ourselves as the servant of the divine, we are in God consciousness. And when we disconnect and see things, everything for our pleasure as means of procuring happiness, that's material consciousness. That's the only difference. So as we are walking, the reason why we are all here is because we aspire for the divine consciousness. So as we are walking, we have to cultivate these truths, irrigate our intellect with this knowledge that Sri Krishna is so kindly bestowing upon our children.
All right. So hope it puts the spirit of sacrifice, why it is important, in perspective. That is what we've been talking about. So we said that Bhagavad Gita says that being good is not good enough. That is a key message, because you need to go even beyond goodness. The mode of goodness is better than mode of passion or mode of ignorance, but it is not good enough because it is also binding. And we need to go beyond that. And hence, bringing God into whatever equation you are trying to solve in your life is of paramount importance. Now let me continue to share my screen. We'll go a little more deeper into the topic that we are going to discuss today. So yesterday we were talking about, okay, let's move on. So the common denominator or the thread running through each of the sacrifice that we saw If you look at it, right, we said that some people give money and then some do havan, some austerity, some bhajan kirtan, some are studying, some do through breath. The key is to have it should be directed towards God. If you don't bring God into the mix, something is missing, something serious is missing at that point. Right. So, and then we also looked at the different aspects, right? Like, for example, some people make philanthropy as the goal of their life. They like to do charity. Some are very, very keen on doing rituals. Okay, this is the ritual I need to do on this particular day or on this particular festival or during this time of the day. But they are very ritualistic oriented. And then some people have yogic practices. They do that, and especially on the Ashtanga Yoga path. Then some people have a lot of agendas that they subscribe to in their life, which are more in activism. Then you have some people who make scriptural study as the goal of their life. They like to absorb knowledge from wherever they can get. And then some people want to excel professionally. In all of these, they are all amount to zero. Zero, okay. It is good, it is fine if you do that, but it is zero unless you add this one to it. What is that one? That one is the devotion you need to add. If you don't add God and devotion to anything, you might be doing karma. You are yet not doing a karma. We spoke about this concept of there are three categories: karma, vikarma, and akarma. Karma is good deeds. Vikarma are bad deeds. And akarma is karam yoga, which is neutral deeds, which is not binding at all. So if we have to neutralize the karmic reactions of our life and get a step closer to God or God consciousness, we have to do a karma or karam yoga. And that can only happen when you are doing whatever you are doing. God is the focal point for that, or at least start introducing that aspect. Okay, I'm doing, thank you God for giving me the ability so that I can be your instrument in excelling in whatever I'm doing. Okay, this is the right way of doing that. Even when we are doing rituals, the love for God is at the center of it, not just the mechanical part of it. When we are doing yogic practice, the breath, the sacrifice is directed towards God. If we are in activism, that consciousness is to serve God, based on the duties that are entrusted to you or the things that we find fundamental to our belief system. When we are doing scriptural studies, every scriptural study should take us a step closer to developing more faith and love for God. When we are doing professional excellence, it's not for myself that I can enjoy the next trip, next vacation, or the next big house, or the next big gadget that comes my way. It's more for bringing my skills to the fore so that I can serve God for his pleasure, because it is extremely pleasing to God when we exert ourselves and realize the potential that he has endowed us with. Right? They said that giving us the abilities is God's gift to us. Or each person, the music that the person is given or born with is the God's gift to us. And realizing that gift or realizing that potential and serving God is our gift back to him. So even when we exert professionally, when you do karam yoga, your potential or your odds of exceeding potential, even in your professional life increase many folds, because now you're doing it for the right reasons without any stress, just becoming the best version of yourself day in and day out. Okay, so devotion, when you bring it into the fold, and even when you're doing philanthropy, is instead of taking the credit or having that sense of doership or enjoying that feeling of helping others for yourself, you again direct it towards God and express that gratitude, because he's giving you the inspiration and the ability to become his instrument to help others, rather than saying, I'm so great or I'm doing it for right. So this is the concept. Now let's move on. Some short stories is what I'm going to tell you now. So let's start with a story of, let me see what story I'm going to tell. I'll need to, give me a sec. It's not right.
Nitinji, I saw Jyoti ji's hand raised.
Jyoti, please go ahead. In the meantime, we can take Jyoti's question and then I'll get back to the stories that I wanted to talk about. Go ahead, Jyoti.
Jyoti ji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe Nitinji. Actually, there is a question which someone asked me long back, somewhere in 2011. I didn't have answer back then, neither I have answer now. So, and we are kind of discussing the similar thing. So I completely agree and appreciate and understand what Swamiji has talked about in the video, that we should acknowledge the presence of God and we should do karma yoga. But the question back then, the person asked me that what is the difference between your life? So he is atheist. So he asked me what is the difference between your life who trusts God so much and my life. So both of us, our lives are going, irrespective of the fact that whether you trust or not. So back then also I didn't have answer, and today also I don't have answer. So it would be nice if you can put some your views and opinion on that.
What is the difference between your life and my life? Basically, is that what?
Yeah. One who is following God and or following karma yoga or looking for God, and the other person who is not doing. So for the question was for both of us, it's same. So then why to trust God and why to do things for
God? What is the parameter of having similarity in life? Just the fact that we both are alive? How can you compare? What are the parameters or the yardsticks around it, first of all?
I have no idea.
Same. What is same, basically? Okay, I'm going to talk about that similarity. I'll get back to that question. Let's continue.
Sure.
And I'll talk about what is, first of all, that's understanding that we are both same and have a similarity that itself is not correct. Okay, everybody's life is different. It is unique. And secondly, like Lord Krishna has said in Bhagavad Gita, everybody, knowingly or unknowingly, is following my path only. Technically, there is nobody an atheist. Ask the person he said, I don't believe in God. Do you seek misery? And if he says no, anything and everything that I do is for the sake of happiness. And when you seek happiness, you are seeking God. Why? Because happiness, Anand eti vijanat, I think it says that Brahman or Brahm or God is bliss. God has bliss is not correct. God itself is bliss. So God has three aspects to it. Chit, Sat, Chit and Anand. So Anand is the essence of God. So if he's seeking happiness, he or she, whoever that friend was, that person is also seeking God. Okay, it's just that they're not aware of it. You are calling it Papa and he's calling it my mummy's husband. Okay, first of all, that awareness is not there. That it's the same thing they're seeking. Secondly, what is happening in your inside, right? The software aspect of it. How can it be tangible? When the life will throw curveballs, your response and that person's response will vary drastically. Okay, because the resilience that you are building, perpetual resilience across lifetime, that person will not have that advantage. One who's choosing to live in material conditioned state, they will break. Okay, they will take a long time to get out of some reversal in life or things when they don't go well. The worrying, the tear and tear, the emotional trauma that is going on inside, nobody can quantify that, right? It's just like saying, I'm hungry. How can you explain how much hungry are you? So it's not same, first of all. Okay, that understanding itself is very naive. Everybody have their own set of things that are going on inside and own set of trajectory, spiritual trajectory, how much they are progressing from God's eyes. So it is all different for everybody. And first of all, I would say when you are saying our lives are same, you define the parameters around it, right? First of all, it has to be an apple to apple comparison. What are the parameters? But talking about that, maybe we can come back to this question, but let's look at some of these stories and that may help understand a few more things around the diversity that we see here. Now we have a monk here, right? So there was a monk. I'll tell you a story about this monk. So this monk, his name was, he was a Japanese monk, Zen monk. His name was Tetsujan. Okay. I don't know how to pronounce, but I think that is probably his name was. And he wanted to write a Lotus Sutra in Mahayana Buddhism. Lotus Sutra in Mahayana. Mahayana is the devotional branch of Buddhism. So he wanted to write a Lotus Sutra. So what he did was that he roamed around, and collected funds from people so that he could publish that. Now, as the luck would have it, what happened? The river Uji flooded when he was about to undertake that publishing with all the funds that he had collected. The river Uji, it flooded. And as a result, he utilized those funds to distribute food to all people who had been displaced as Okay, so all the funds were gone. He could not publish that sutra. Now again, he went around and collected funds. And when the time came for publishing, the second time a pandemic broke in Japan. By the way, the Lotus Sutra was only in Chinese. He wanted to have it in Japanese as well. And second time pandemic happened. And so he had to distribute medicines. He had to utilize all the money that he had collected to medicines. Nevertheless, he collected money again. He roamed around, went around and collected money again. And the third time, he was finally able to publish the Lotus Sutra. And people said, the third edition, this is the third edition of that Lotus Sutra. And they said the previous two editions were even better. So did you understand where the money went? So those sacrifices were also acceptable. They were also pure and selfless. That is how God accepts. So there is a variety in terms of how many sacrifice and the ways in which we can perform sacrifice. Because we are all different. We all have unique propensities. That is how God has created us. And so there are infinite kind of sacrifices we can do. They are not just limited to a selected few. As the vision expands, we understand that it is not that I have sole access to the absolute truth and everyone else is wrong. Everybody is doing good, and it is leading to the broadening of the vision. So that is the beauty of Sanatan Dharam, where we look at everything, the diversity is actually accepted. That is where in Vedas, God is saying all are welcome. The austerities that you perform can take many shapes. It's not like my way or highway. Only if you do so and so and believe in so and so, you will go to heaven. Otherwise, you will go to hell. Nothing of that sort. Okay. So as you broaden your vision, you gain that depth around it. And the variety is the nature of the creation. In fact, God is an amazingly innovative creator. For the 7 billion plus people that we have, he has created different biometrics. I am in cybersecurity. If people did not have different biometrics, I don't know how our technologies would have evolved. Right? They have different biometrics. And even facial experiences are different. You go in front of the camera, even if you're wearing specs, they can recognize you. That is how unique we are, because it looks at that is a retina scan as well, which is unique. And these days, I think the softwares are even looking at the mask. If COVID time you're not wearing a mask, they can recognize you because we are unique. We are unique in that sense. Voices are different. When somebody calls you over the phone, I know. But if your friend is calling you after 20 years, you may not be able to. But then typically people whom we talk to just by voice, we can, even though we are not seeing their FaceTime, we're not doing FaceTime. They are also unique. And if you unleash a dog just by smelling can make out this is a friendly person whom I've already previously met or not. So they come, they smell you, and then after that, the owner of the house says now he'll be fine. If he hasn't barked at you, he hasn't bitten you, he'll be fine for the rest of the life, right? So even that is because even our body odors are unique. That is the variety that God has created, because he's very innovative in that sense. Even every tree, every leaf of every tree is different. That is how different it is. So worshipping and the forms of sacrifices are also different. And God has said, he's given us all the options, right? The key is to direct it towards God. So that is the first thing I wanted to tell you. So sacrifices can take a lot of form. Now I'll tell you another story. This is the first story. Second story I'll tell you about Kalahastishwar temple. Okay, Kalahastishwar temple. Has anybody heard about it? So in Andhra Pradesh, in Chittoor district, there is a temple called Kalahastishwar. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right or not. Yes, Shriramya, you know about this temple, Kalahastishwar temple?
Go ahead, Shriramya ji.
That I visited this temple, Kalahastishwar temple.
Kalahastishwar. Okay. Yeah, Sam, you wanted to add something? Okay, maybe the same thing. So now there's this temple. So what the story, as the story goes, once Swayambhu Vayu Lingam manifested in the forest. Okay, it manifested in the forest. So when this came in the forest, there are three devotees. Okay, as the legend goes. Who are the three devotees? Okay, don't freak out. The first one is spider. So when it looks at this Shivling, it says, oh my God, my Shiv Bhagavan is there, and it is bare in the open, and so many insects and things can come. So it starts weaving a net around it, web around it. So it covers it with an ice web because it's a devotee. So it covers it with an ice web. Now guess what happens? There's another devotee, elephant comes. The elephant looked at this and said, what's going on here? I don't like this net on top of it. Rather, I would serve some fruit and some fresh fruit to my Lord Shiva. So he breaks the net. He takes off the net and offers him some leaves and fruit. That's not the end of the story. There's another devotee which comes, okay? This is the most creepiest one, snake. Snake says, what kind of these leaves and fruit are, stale fruits are lying out there. It gets some precious stones and adorns it around Shivling. The next day, the spider comes. He said, what happened to my net here? He looks at the stones and by a lot of effort, it takes the stones away and again weaves a web around it. And then elephant comes, it breaks it. It does the same thing. And the snake comes, it takes it off and puts the stones around it. And this cycle continues until one day they decide, okay, we are going to watch who does that. So the elephant is waiting and the spider comes. And the spider, when it starts weaving the web, the elephant comes and whacks it and in one shot kills it. Now the elephant is doing its job, the snake is waiting. When snake sees that, it is unbearable to it. It's a devotee and, this elephant is doing some kind of a stuff that snake is not liking to his Ishtadev or deity. So what it does is it enters into its trunk and bites it. Now the elephant realizes the snake is come, so it basically throws its trunks. It hits its trunk against a tree to get it out, and in the process kills the snake. But by the time it kills it, the venom has already spread, and the elephant is killed as well. Okay, this is what happens. Now Lord Shiv understands what was the motive for all three of them. So he takes all of three of them to Kailash, because the motive was actually to serve Lord Shiva, their Ishtadev. Same thing happens in our Seva world also, because there is diversity, there is variety. Everybody is thinking, what I'm doing is right, for the way I'm doing is right. So these kind of conflicts happen because God has made us different. So rather than getting embroiled in conflicts, we need to celebrate that, because our Vedas are telling us austerities can be performed in a different ways. And because of which this temple is called Kala Hasteshwar, because Kal stands for the snake, Hast, I think it stands for the elephant, and the last one is for the spider. So all three, based on all three's name, this temple is named. Okay, so that's right. Let me carry forward. Another story I'll tell you which you will love the most. Okay. Yes, Sandhya, you had a question in the meantime?
Please go ahead, Sandhya ji. Yeah.
Little bit of technical question. Of course, the expression of devotion from all three of them was really commendable. But what?
No, go ahead. Why did they get
then animals are not supposed to be doing, like, are these the exception? Like we say human beings are
Have you heard fables?
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so I think in previous life, that in fact, if you talk about Jad Bharat and all, now you would say in Bhagavatam, Jad Bharat, when he came as a deer, how did he have an intellect to know that last life I made this mistake of getting attached to a deer's baby, and now I have to rectify that mistake, right? In the next life, and he would roam around the sages, kutis and all. So in different yugas, different things have different abilities. Let me put it that way. Fables are more for Kali Yuga, where animals speak and think and all that stuff, but it is a possibility. My policy is anything which is given in our scriptures, take it on a face value, like a big monkey carrying a mountain. Who will imagine that happens? But things are possible here, right? So this is how the legend goes, at least in this regard. But let me continue and complete the story, and then I'll come back to the other two hands that I see. The third one, the variety aspect of it, which you're talking about, right? Let's go to Golok now. Okay, Krishna's abode. There also, there are wings. There are politics there as well. Okay, not an ordinary one, of course. So like we have communists and Republicans, we have BJP and Congress, we have the right wing and the left wings. Similarly, in Golok also, there are Manini Gopis and Mugdha Gopis. Now the conflict, it's a divine conflict. The conflict is not about their own pleasure like it happens in the worldly. the conflict that happens is who knows what will please Krishna more. Okay, so Manini gopis and Mugdha gopis, they are the two wings there, is what I said. So within that, there are conflicts between, like, for example, between Radhaji and Chandravali. Right? It's like Chandravali will say, this is what will please Krishna more, and then Radha will say, it just does not make sense. So those kind of conflicts happen there as well. Even after God realization, they are divine. They are not like an ordinary conflicts that we indulge in, because those are not self-seeking. And once you have realized God, you are not, basically afflicted with the mental afflictions that we do. So they are differently called together. But I like this fact when I came across on the video. So even there is a variety. So variety is the way of life. This is how we have been created. Okay. So whether we are doing our seva, the kind of path we choose, austerity we choose, Vedas are saying, all right, as long as you are directing it towards me, that common denominator is the same. There could be multiple ways of doing that. But the essence is God is the common denominator around it, right? So continuing to build on that, if you look at it this way, you have food, right? Then you have water. These are some of the things that we can relate to immediately. Travel we do, and then we love music, we eat food, we drink water, we love to have a good house, that cozy house we always dreamt about. And then we do different actions based on the profession that we are in throughout our lives. You simply add the bhakti element to it, and then the same food becomes prasad, water becomes amrit, travel becomes tirth, music becomes kirtan, home becomes temple, actions become seva. So this is the key actually to transition from bhog to yoga, because now you are adding devotion to it, you are adding God to the equation, and now the equation will serve its purpose of the creation as well. With that, I'll take a quick pause and take the few hands for any questions that you may have.
I see Keshav ji's hand raised. Keshav ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. I just wanted to add the same what you said already, that action is there, but intentions are the key. And actions, even if killing others, but for the God. The key is doing service for God, not for self-benefit. Radhe Radhe.
True, beautiful, very true. The motive behind it is to serve God, and that is why even in Mahabharata, or for that matter in Ramayana, when Hanumanji killed so many people, in God's books, they were not recorded as murders. They were all multiplication with zero. Why? Because it was done as a Ram Kaj for the pleasure of God, as his seva to him. Same thing for Arjun. Arjun, what was he supposed to do before he listened to Bhagavad Gita? He was supposed to fight. What did he do after reading, not reading, but listening to Bhagavad Gita? He fought. What did he do? He killed people. Was it recorded as a murder? No, of course not. God said, multiply by zero, your accounting book closed. That's it. And even in the world, we try to establish the motive behind it. Did he really want to kill? So he did it with the spirit of Karma Yoga as a service to God, because that was the right thing to do, not only as a Kshatriya, but also keeping the big picture in mind. So it recorded as a multiplication with zero completely. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Also, yes, I see a few hands, and then I can come back to what chain of thought I had. Yes, Monica ji, please go ahead.
Monica ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. So Nitin ji, about politics in Golok, how does Krishna resolve all that?
Krishna has fun, right? He's having fun regardless. So the politics is happening between what will please Krishna more. Man gopis say, you know what? Krishna, I think he relishes both the taste. It's like if somebody keeps on feeding you laddu throughout the day, you will not relish it. And that is why Man gopis know that we will get upset with Krishna to increase his ras. Right? So he also likes variety there. Man means they will become upset, right? Even in the world, people do that. They throw tantrums just because the other person can give them a rose or a flower and make up with them, kind of a deal. So that is the thing even Krishna enjoys, relishes. So he gets the variety and the best of both, because he's the Rasik Shiromani, right? So ultimate enjoyer. So I don't think he takes side for that matter. He may take sides just to double the ras, to create that, but yeah, once we go to Golok, I think we'll get to know better, and we'll figure out which camp we need to join, okay?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Sri Ramya ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Yeah, sure, Mary.
Radhe. Just to add one point regarding the Sri Kalahasti temple. On the linga, right, there are imprints of the snake, of the spider, and of the elephant, telling that all the Shivlinga.
Now, if that doesn't convince you, Sandhya, I don't know what else will, right? There are imprints of the snake, elephant's trunk, and the spider on that temple.
On the
So,
lingam.
on the lingam itself, yeah. Thank you for calling that out, Sriramya.
No, I am convinced. My question was that we say that human form is the only form in which you can do bhakti. So from that perspective, I was asking, are these exceptions?
Yeah, I think
That was only my question.
Those might be exceptions, yeah. Yes,
Yes,
Sriramya.
Falguni ji.
Radhe
Radhe Radhe. Yeah.
Radhe Radhe Nitinji and Radhe Radhe everyone. Nitinji, can I just share one little small this thing which example which Ramakrishna has given in the same to add to what you have already said.
Sure.
Yeah. So Ramakrishna ji says that just like a mother, she cooks different dishes for the child. She has many children, so she cooks different dishes, like in the sense that if she's making fish, so she will make some fried fish for one child, some other kind of fish, some pickled fish for the second child, and some boiled fish for the third child, and so on. So similarly, like the devotion is there. So God has, to fix our mind on God, there are different paths. So like you can choose any path, that is why like God has made different paths so that you can choose, the devotees can choose path which is more they're comfortable with. So I thought I would just share with you what I just read a few days ago.
Thank you.
Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Falguni. Very nicely articulated. In fact, more than you choosing the path will choose you, because your sanskars would lead you to that path. It will come very naturally.
Okay.
Right? So that is what happens. If
Achha.
you've done a lot of Gyan Yoga in previous life, you'll just get attracted towards it. But the key here to understand here is, regardless of which path you take, the yoga is the bhakti aspect of it. That has to be mixed for that path to fructify. Because if you leave out the bhakti element part of it, you are just doing gymnastics in the material world only. So whether you do Kriya Yoga, whether you do any practice, Kundalini Jagaran, or anything for that matter, if you're not doing devotion, you're still playing in the material world. You may end up getting siddhis and stuff like that. You may derail your spiritual journey down the line. But making spiritual progress is something that can only be enabled through adding devotion in your practice, whichever practice.
Yeah. So Nitinji, we don't choose the path, right? It will come to us automatically. Not automatically, it will come to us.
Past sanskar, we will get attracted towards, naturally.
Okay.
Having said that, of course, information is available, knowledge is available, so people can take their journey to the next level. It's not necessary that you keep getting stuck to the same thing, right? Once you understand the higher principle, you make a move. It's not necessary that you keep getting stuck in the same place itself. Because a lot of people, they like to get stuck in certain practices, but then if they get exposure to the devotional element of it, why not move forward and not get stuck at where you are? So yeah.
Thank you, Nitinji.
Thank you, Falguni ji. It's Jyoti ji.
Jyoti ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead. Yeah.
Radhe Radhe, Pallavi ji, Nitin ji, and everyone. If I can answer Jyoti ji's question that she asked, one of the things that occurs to me is the aspect of when we do any kind of bhakti, we are actually depositing, even if we are doing karma, which is good karma, we are depositing some good credits for our future. The life that the atheist is living right now is because of their past karma. And so imagine somebody that is saying, I have enough savings, I'm going to stop working, I'm going to just spend, as opposed to somebody that is earning and spending at the same time. So ultimately, their good credits are going to run out, and then they are going to be in debt. which is what this other person, this atheist, is going to be. They are not saving for their future, for lack of a better word. And the other aspect is that, like Swamiji's video was, where the guy opens the door and enters somebody else's house and doesn't even acknowledge that it's their house. Ultimately, they're going to lose respect in God's eyes, like that guy lost respect in the eyes of the owner of the house. So this aspect of being grateful for what we are given is the basic, ethics of the world that we live in. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Thank you, Jyoti. Beautiful point. I think Jyoti's question was more around how do you quantify it, or how do you make it tangible to them, right? Person will say, your life, my life is same. So there are intangibles and there are tangibles as well, right? Because that person will not have the benefit of seeing the continuum of life across lifetimes for you, right? But only the yardsticks could be when things come, right? The way you would deal with it, especially if you have built some spiritual moat around you, and the way that person will deal, that reactions will completely be different. The way you are kind of building those perpetual assets which will travel across lifetimes, that person will not be able to build those, especially if the philosophy is to enjoy life, right? That concept of enjoy life. Life is like an ice cream cone, enjoy it before it melts. Who's seen God, who's seen afterlife, and stuff like that. So those, lot of those things are intangibles, but from your standpoint, if you understand the bigger principle, you continue working on yourself rather than getting distracted, sidetracked by such arguments and discussions, because they don't lead us anywhere. What is the point, basically? Because end of the day, everybody will proceed in life based on their belief system, and that belief system, if it is based on erroneous knowledge or limited understanding, then it's not really helpful for us, not only for our material life, but definitely not for our spiritual life. Yes, Monica ji, you wanted to add something?
Radhe Radhe. Monica ji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Just one clarification, Nitinji, this is off the topic, but then I was talking to one of the ISKCON devotees today, and he happened to mention that when we go to Golok, we don't come back to Mrityulok, but then if we go to Shivlok, then we come back to Mrityulok. Is that true?
Shivlok, if you look at it, we spoke about it, it's in divine realm, right? Beyond Par, it's one of the Paravyom loks. Now, if you go by some of the books there, which are written, I don't know what is the genesis or the origin for that, they will say 80% God, 90% God. Doesn't work that way.
Oh.
Right? So if you go by some of that stuff, they'll say, okay, Vishnu is this many percent and Shiv is 80% and he's on the cusp. It doesn't work that way. Those lokas that we spoke about, Paravyom lok, which go beyond, which are in the spiritual abodes, they are perpetual. They don't get annihilated. Okay. And Shiv, there's no difference between Shiv, Krishna, Ram.
Right.
All the forms of God. So how can you say that, basically?
Right. So I did not argue with him, but sort of just wanted to clarify.
Yeah. In fact, Devi Lok and all, the Shakti, Shaktiman, all the spiritual realm, which is 3/4 of this creation anyways, where we are, it's just 1/4. And we are like a dot within a dot within a dot within a dot, right? We don't even know about our universe, and we're talking multiverse theory, right? The other day I came across an article, one of the scientists was saying that, they are actually going to expounding on that theory of multiverses. Maybe I can show that in one of our sessions. But the spiritual lokas, when we talk about, they are perpetual. Okay, it's not like Shiv Lok is material and then Brahma Lok, up to Brahma Lok is a material world, because Brahma Ji, our scriptures tell us that Brahma Ji actually is the topmost devotee of God. But a Jivatma can become Brahma Ji as well. So you and I can become Brahma Ji as well.
Right.
Having said that, the post of Brahma Ji is so important because he goes about doing that creation, that if a Jivatma, suitable Jivatma is not found, it's like army, Indian army. If you don't find a suitable, they will keep the position vacant, right? But in this case, God does not keep the position vacant. He himself takes on a form of Brahma. But Brahmaji is Jivatma. But other than that, when we talk about Shankar, Bhagwan, Vishnu himself, right, they're all planetary expansion of the same God. There's absolutely no difference, no bhed buddhi. In fact, if they say 80%, 90%, that is called spiritual transgression. So,
right.
From that, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? I know it was an interesting topic.
Yeah.
I wanted to let you know that tomorrow we have that quiz that everybody would love, and you all are welcome to participate in that. I think we are going to do it live as well. Right? We want to talk about that. We are going to do that live on YouTube. So look, and then on Sunday, mark your calendars. We are going to celebrate Sharad Purnima, the birthday of Maharajji. We'll do trivia, and we will also talk about a lot of other things about Maharajji. If you want to know more about him, I'll bring in some part. I don't know what I will, but things that will be relevant for you to know and understand. So it will be a fascinating, engaging session, and it will probably start half an hour early. So it will be like 8:30 to 10 US Central Time. That would be like 30 minutes before, usual time that it starts in India. It will be 7 a.m. We're going to start, and it's going to be a 90-minute session that day. Yes, Sandev, any other thing you wanted to announce?
Okay, there was a question as well, but first announcement, okay. Yes, so I will share the course or the document to refer to for tomorrow's quiz, because it's generic and it's basically based upon the Tattvagyan, the generic Tattvagyan that we have learned. And I had shared the link yesterday. I'll share it today again. And what else? For the Sunday session also, you will get some material maybe to prepare for the trivia, especially the Maharajji's birthday special trivia. So I think, yeah, that's it. Oh yeah, one more announcement, Nitinji. So we, what does Guru mean for you? Like, who is Guru? If you can send a very short video bite, like 3 to 5 seconds. If you're interested in sending that, we are compiling the videos and we'll be making a reel out of that special for Sharad Purnima. So you can just fill in your interest in the feedback tracker. Those of us who are attending class and are interested. So, and then we can get it from you and we can include it in the final production.
A quick video bite that we would compile for that Sharad Purnima celebrations that we're going to do. So I'm looking for more participants to come forward and give, but it has to be quick, not a big line or something or explaining, because it has to be a collage with a lot of people.
So hold your phone vertically upright, like normal vertical, and just take a video, like 3 to 5 seconds.
One who dispels darkness, or one who's a teacher, one who's a mentor, one like a father, anything, quick bite, and then we are going to compile that. So that's something you need to submit by Friday. Put it in the feedback tracker, or you can create a vertical video of yours and share the Google Drive link for that, because the original video quality is
So
better.
for those, yeah, so for those who will share, yeah, their interest in the feedback tracker, we can also share the Google Drive link with them. And Rupa ji is again asking when it starts at 7. So we are talking about Sunday's session, India Monday, that is October 29th, right, Nitinji? Yeah, that's October 29th for US and October 30th for India.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. So that, and now I quickly ask my question?
Sure, you can.
That was just in connection with what Monica ji had said. So I was just wondering, so in the Golok, we have Braj as well. Similarly, in Shivlok, we have Kailash as well. Just want to confirm, is that correct?
Yeah, I think there is a divine Kailash, divine Ganga, and divine Tet, and then I think the image of that is here as well. So yes, it has it like Braj we had in Vrindavan also, right? If you go to, you will find that, yeah. So, but there's a Braj in Golok as well.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Who's next?
Samji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. I wanted to ask the same. The Kailash mountain in Himalayas, does it come under spiritual realm or material realm? And Vishnu's, Garbhodu Shai Vishnu, there are many Vishnus. Are they all Vaikunt Lokas? Do they come under spiritual realm or material realm?
So Vishnu is the planetary expansion, right? The Pratham Purush, Dvitiya Purush, Tritiya Purush, we had looked at it, right? So when we're talking about the planetary expansions of God, they are all God themselves, right? There's no difference between them and the God as such. So yes, they are on the spiritual realm. They're not in the material realm at all. But Vishnu is a governor of this Mahavishnu is the governor of the entire material world. Right? Vaikuntha itself is a spiritual abode. It is not in material abode.
Kailash mountains in Himalayas.
Kailash and Shivlok would be spiritual, right? And the Kailash here in Prithvi Lok that we have, that is in a material abode, material, right? When the annihilation would happen, that Kailash will also dissipate.
Okay.
Okay. Kumarji.
Radhe Radhe, Kumarji, please go.
Radhe Kumarji.
Jai Shri Ram, everyone. So I see a lot of questions, right? Which God, whether someone is God or not. And I think this doubt doesn't need to be there. And we don't need to entertain such thoughts from other people who kind of belittle one God, right? I'm not even talking about Hindu gods, right? Even someone belittles Jesus, Allah, that is not right. Because all God is just one. He just takes so many forms. He manifests in so many forms. And so many religions follow each God. But it all leads to one, right? So you just take the Ishtadev that you like and just go with it. You don't need to really think about, am I going to go lok or this lok or nothing. We don't really need to think about it. Just think about God. Just put all your effort in bhakti and that is enough. Jai Shri Ram.
Shri Ram. I don't think anybody is belittling here. They're just trying to understand the concept here. So belittling would come then when you are comparing and saying this and that. I don't think that's...
Someone was saying someone else from some other group was belittling. Like Shiva was only 80% or something. We don't need to hear those things, right? We just let it go.
I was just putting it in perspective that if you come across that, then we need to look at it the right way. That's all it is. And then having said that, basically, yes, God is a superlative term. You cannot have God, Godder, Goddess. God is one. You call him Allah, you call him Jehovah, you call him Krishna. Now, Krishna is his chosen name because he's all attractive. It's all the same. End of the day, it's a superlative term. You cannot have multiple. It's a different forms of God. Once we've understood that concept, I think everything else is more of an intellectual discussion at that point. God is just one. And same goes with Shakti, Shaktiman Sambandh as well. In the feminine form or the actual form, both are same. Okay. Yes, Monica ji. Wanted to add something?
Please go ahead, Monica ji.
Yes, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe Nitiji. Radhe Radhe, Kumarji. This was basically one of my very old friends who just joined ISKCON. And out of curiosity, he was asking questions. So I thought I'll just clarify that he was not belittling. He can never, nobody dare do that, right? Especially in front of a devotee. So he was not belittling. He just had doubts because he was reading a lot of Maharaji's material also. So because I had limited time and I was asking questions to Nitinji, so probably did not get the perspective there, but belittling, never. Just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Keshavji, want to add something?
Radhe Radhe, Keshavji, please go ahead.
Okay. See, the beauty is when this type of questions come, they are always welcome. No questions not being answered like that. They don't answer by one man opinion. And number two, avyaktam vyaktim apanam manyate mam abhuteya param bhava jananto mamamyamanuttamam. See, the beauty in that shloka is God doesn't manifest overnight and like in that form and this form. All the forms, we are all as they are. It is not that God has manifested in that form and then he is acting like that. He need not do that. He is not a doer. He is non-doer. He needs to then think of those shlokas, other shlokas, which support this thing that everybody, whosoever is in this world, or in the universe, or in the, heaven, as we call, they all are what they are. It is not that God has manifested in that form. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Keshavji. Thank you for adding more color to this. Yes, who else? I saw one more hand was there. Are we good then? Good to move to...
I saw Samji's hand. I think she has.
Okay.
Samji, do you still have question?
Yeah, I don't see.
Yeah.
So, if you have any more questions, please fill in the feedback tracker. We'll continue this discussion. But like I said, we are going to talk about Guru Tattva now. We are going to get into 4.34 very soon. And anyway, the celebration is coming up. So if you want to know more about Kripalaji Maharaj, Jagat Gurutam, more about his life, some of the incidents, a lot of other stuff. Sunday, do join Monday morning. That would be 7 o'clock your time. It's going to be a 90-minute program. We'll do some trivia and a lot of good stuff that you would relish throughout. So with that said, any more questions? Yes, Sandhya, you had a question or something to talk about?
I just received a message in the chat, like where do you go in the link for preparing the Kahoot quiz? So I just wanted to clarify. And the link that we have shared is the philosophy section of the JKO website. And in that, you have like different tabs which correspond to who am I, what is my identity, what is my purpose, like, basic questions, basic sections, fundamentals of spirituality that we are learning. So yeah, that's what you need to go through.
Cool. Great. So I think we can have a quick devotional segment. I had asked for names who want to say, so I just got one entry. So Sandhya, go ahead.
And actually, Pallavi ji also has said that she wanted to.
Okay, we'll have 2 entries then. Let's do that quickly and then we can wrap it up. The idea is to wrap up by 10:15 from here on.
Yes, Pallavi ji, I am sharing the screen. Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah, give me just.
You're welcome to stay back for our devotional segment. So yes, let's proceed then. I see Lord Ram. Okay,
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
राम सिया राम जय जय राम राम सिया राम जय जय राम मंगल भवन अमंगल हारी अजहु द्रवहु सुदशरथ अचर बिहारी राम सिया राम जय जय राम राम सिया राम जय जय राम हो धीरज धर्म मित्र अरुनारी आपद काल परखिए चारी राम सिया राम जय जय राम राम सिया राम जय जय राम हो जाकी रही भावना जैसी प्रभु मूर्ति देखी तिन तैसी राम सिया राम जय जय राम राम सिया राम जय जय राम हो रघुकुल रीत सदा चली आई प्राण जाए पर वचन न जाई राम सिया राम जय जय राम राम सिया राम जय जय राम हो हरि अनंत हरि कथा अनंता कहि सुनहि भव विधि सब संता राम सिया राम सिया राम जय जय राम, राम सिया राम जय जय राम, राम सिया राम जय जय राम। जय श्री कृष्ण चंद्र। राधे राधे।
Radhe Radhe. Thank you, Pallavi ji. Beautiful, beautiful bhajan. You took us back to the 90s, 80s, and 90s when Ramayana used to play at our Doordarshan sets. It's a beautiful, beautiful bhajan. Very nice. I felt nostalgic hearing that, and you sang it very, very nicely, soulfully. Loved it. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so next is Sandhya. Go ahead, Sandhya. So that will be the last one for the day, and then we'll wrap it up. Go ahead, Sandhya.
Sorry. This is a bhajan from Kripaluji Maharaj. Some of you might have heard it. I really love it. I love its lyrics. I thought I'd try and sing it. सरकार माफ हो गुस्ताखी, कुछ खोटी खरी सुनाता हूँ। मैं तेरा हूँ, तेरा होकर दर दर की ठोकर खाता हूँ। सरकार माफ हो गुस्ताखी, तू समरथ वारिस है फिर भी लावारिस में कहलाता हूँ। तू व्यापक हर जर्रे में है, पर दीदार न तेरा पाता हूँ। सरकार माफ हो गुस्ताखी, कुछ खोटी खरी सुनाता हूँ। है करम तेरा मुझ पर बेहद, यह भी अनुमान लगाता हूँ। पर इस चंचल मन पर रहबर अधिकार नहीं कर पाता हूँ। सरकार माफ हो गुस्ताखी, कुछ खोटी खरी सुनाता हूँ। मन में रहती दुनियादारी, बगुला सा ध्यान लगाता हूँ। तुझको खुश करने की खातिर आंसू भी नहीं बहाता हूँ। सरकार माफ हो गुस्ताखी, कुछ खोटी खरी सुनाता हूँ। कर नजर इनायत करुणा कर, मैं माया से घबराता हूँ। झूठा ही सही पर नाम कृपालु लेकर तुझे बुलाता हूँ। झूठा ही सही पर नाम कृपालु लेकर तुझे बुलाता हूँ। सरकार माफ हो गुस्ताखी, कुछ खोटी खरी सुनाता हूँ, मैं तेरा हूँ, तेरा होकर दर दर की ठोकर खाता हूँ। हरे राम हरे कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम हरे कृष्ण हरे हरे। राधे राधे।
Radhe Radhe. Thank you, Sandhya. Beautiful bhajan. So these are some of the honest confessions of a devotee. You know, how we fall short in our endeavors, and very beautiful bhajan. So thank you for reciting that and telling the story of our lives, basically. That's what we keep on repeatedly doing. These are the beautiful...
These are a very like deep, piercing the heart, these lines. Very much like, yeah.
Maharajji's bhajans are very, very deep, penetrating, loaded with Tattva Gyan, and at the same time hitting the point directly where all we lack. Thank you. Beautiful. So we had two beautiful renditions, one from Pallavi and then from Sandhya, and we had a good session. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow in our quiz, and thank you again for your fantastic, outstanding participation like you always do. So Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening.
Another reminder for tomorrow's quiz, all the 4 Seva team members, you're requested and encouraged to come up with the names of your teams. Like, you know, last time Vinamra team had done Vinamra 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. And whatever will be your total team scores combined for all the individuals will become your direct scores in the scoreboard. So you have another motivation to score.
Or, yeah, we can find a way. People say it kills the fun of taking creative names. Okay, so
Then also it's fine. They can honestly report their scores.
They can honestly report it.
Honor code works.
You can play with the name that you want if that adds to the fun. But yeah, you can report it and we'll consolidate it and add it to the scores. But yeah, game on for all the teams.
Yes, all the best. See you all tomorrow. Radhe Radhe.
You all interested in Kirtan singing, you need to put it in the feedback tracker. Okay, we'll go with that.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nitinji, for another awesome session. It has been very, very enlightening. Thank you so much, everyone, for your wonderful participation. Have a great day. Stay blessed. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.